I can't, Greg. I can't do it. I'm all tuckered out.
Are you a little flustered? A
No.
little unwired?
I don't know what I am. I'm like half checked in, half checked out.
You're half-assing it.
Yeah.
You're half-assing a bunch of things
Someone
today.
told me a story today about being half cocked. They're like, I never knew what that meant until I went to go raise my gun, and then I went to go pull the trigger, and nothing happened. I was half cocked. He's like, it was in that moment I realized what half cocked meant. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. I don't think I ever put much thought into it myself. All right. And then if I try this one more time, we should show a live podcast. There it is. Then you can see these guys on the screen, although there's a delay for the internet, but it's all good. It's all good.
This is the OK.
Oh, I totally messed it up.
This is the OKest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag. You hunt how you want. This is OKest Hunter.
Is it down, up, down? Do you do the second one?
I don't do a second one. It's
down, cheer, down, up. That's a lot of work. That could just be spilling booze everywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of a waste of time and effort.
Come on, you were like, pop. I was like, oh,
dude, you're not a rookie at this, are you?
Yeah, forever. I'm like a perpetual rookie.
No, I think you just need to keep your shit together. That's all.
Get your turds in a row.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Someone says when they say get your poop in a group. That means get your shit together.
Mm-hmm.
That's the toddler version of it.
Yeah,
get your poop in a group. That's my boss that her daughter's friend said that.
Nice.
That's pretty great. Welcome to the show. This is the last episode of the year. That's not maybe entirely true. I might sneak one more in because I'm going to get bored while I'm off of work for the next couple weeks. But officially, this is the last.
Maybe we do a virtual regroup with a bunch of us and maybe just recap our season. Season's not over.
Season is not over.
I still have a buck I need to chase. So
Moose?
No, I think Moose is going to take a back seat because he is MIA. Oh, I'd shoot him, but I'm going to be hunting a different property altogether, I think, for a buck.
And what else was I going to say? I don't know. We're brought to you by Nosler. I almost forget that every time.
I even wore a reminder for you.
It's right in front of my face. It's on the table.
I mean, never mind my Christmas sweater, but
I like the Christmas. Very festive for the last one of the year. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I got the Santa hats on the bucks. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah,
I do that once a year. He'll come down pretty soon. Check those guys. Check those guys out. Those words just. I need all the help I can get tonight.
Like diarrhea, it fell right out of your diaper.
Just loose lipping it over here. Go to nosler.com. Use code OHP. Save 20%. You can do that on all our partner websites. Spartan Forge just had a huge update come through. Go to the App Store. Make sure you do the update. They got a lot more going on. Rack Hub just came out with a new little add-on product for their RH2, which is a tag plate. So if you have 3 lines of laser inscription you can put on there. So if you have antlers that you're displaying, you could put, shoot a buck, shot on the river, 11, 24, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Put whatever you want on it in those 3 lines. That's a really cool thing. I thought that was really great. My muck boots are in full swing right now. I got the half, what is that called? Like the ones that they're not the ankle high or not the knee high. They're the
little guys.
Little guys. I love those. Are my favorite.
It's nice to be able to slip
boot.
On, take the dogs out, and
take the trash out, take
snow.
the dogs out, move the snow around. Just kind of like my winter Crocs, if you were.
There you go.
And then obviously got the other ones for other stuff. But use code OHP over there at Muck. And bear archery, as you can see on the wall. I did kill a deer with my persist this year. So
indeed you did.
It was good. I also shot one and didn't kill a deer, but that had nothing to do with my bow and everything to do with who the fuck knows what happened. Because we never found him, so we couldn't put the pieces together. He did live. We did find him on the drone, but yeah, it's a story for another time. Or not, because you've already heard it 100 times. But if you're joining us, thanks for jumping on. And also check out all the other shows on the network. There are 14 total shows on the OKS Podcast Network. I'd name them all off, but I can't count past 10 effectively. So I'm going to struggle to remember every one of the ones that we have, but they're pretty great. I'd argue that some of them are better. Well, definitely better than what I'm putting out.
Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, I'm also, I guess everyone's putting out Just gotta make it weird every time.
You do.
We got some guests on the show. We got the guys from Latitude on, Alex Chop and Corey. You know, Corey, actually, I don't know if I know how to say your last name. Is it Godar?
It is. You nailed it. Nailed it.
All right. I mean, I see it all the time. I just never say it. So it's kind of like the oh shit moment, right there. That's yeah. Welcome to the show, guys.
Sorry, I didn't know you brought us out from backstage. I didn't get the notification, so
that's how my wife got pregnant. She didn't even know it happened. It was like,
surprised her, didn't you?
Yeah. Rapey, but yeah, it's just because it's so small.
Wow.
We got to make it so weird that everyone feels the same level of discomfort as me, and then we're all on the same page. This is about how I feel in the deer woods every time I go hunting. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to mess it up. So you just got to start with the bar low.
Expectations, Eric.
Yeah. I don't know why you guys pay to sponsor this episode or this show.
That's actually why they're on. By the way, we're going to have to let you go.
Yeah.
That's all.
This is a breakup podcast. Okay.
Yeah, you guys are breaking. But I didn't say brought to you by Latitude or like because you're here. This is an episode for you guys. We try to give our partners 1 to 2 episodes a year. They just get to have the floor. So
yeah.
I just assume everyone knows who you guys are. I suspect it's probably wise to let you guys do a quick intro because, Alex, you're a bit of the face, and Corey, you've become quite a bit of the face with the Grit series. You guys want to just kind of rattle off the team members and what you guys do and how the company's doing?
Yeah, I'm Alex Chop. I'm one of the co-founders here at Latitude. I handle the sales side of the business mainly, and I focus on the branding. And then I work very closely with Corey here, who is our genius marketer. So, Corey, I'll let you introduce yourself.
That's a hell of an intro. I'm Corey. I'm the marketing director here at Latitude, and obviously work every day with Al on marketing strategy, campaigns, execution, partnerships with the OK's Hunter, and even the Grit series. So we get to have a little bit of fun, but a lot of the time spent on the computer. So it's all good. Yeah,
it's always way less glorious when you realize you just sit in an uncomfortable chair all day and stare at a screen. Like that's most of the stuff.
Everybody thinks we just hunt for a living, which, that'd be kind of cool. But 99.9% of the time, we're just keyboard warriors.
And when you're running a hunting company, typically you hunt less than the average hunter because you are busy when it's hunting season.
Yeah. Some of the guys on the team certainly hunt less than the average guy. Fortunately for Corey and I, we do hunt more than the average guy.
I was gonna say the Grit series proves otherwise. I mean, you guys amongst the other crews that you have running around pounding ground and trying to find success, you guys have really made it very entertaining and just have done a fantastic job of documenting it. So hats off to you guys on that effort.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you find it entertaining because, we struggle to kill deer, but at least we can, get some laughs out of people.
If you paid attention to our content and what we've put out, we probably struggle even worse. So
I feel right at home here on the
we're good.
Yeah, the reason we all get along, keep it free. Yeah. I mean, the authenticity thing is it's a big topic in the hunting community because there's this fine line of like, do you show this? Well, you don't want to show too much of the bad because it could rub the wrong person outside of the industry the wrong way. But if you don't show enough of it, then you're pissing off the endemic hunting world, the people that are hardcore enthusiasts, where they're like, well, that's bullshit. You didn't show enough of what was real. So like that's a hard line to walk to balance that out. And every episode you guys put out is like a short film. It's done really well. The cinematography, the editing, the transitions, the music and audio, it's all like very high production value for an episodic. Like you'd think every episode's a short film. It's pretty damn impressive, guys.
Yeah, I can't take any credit for that. Derek and Aaron are extremely Derek Bradis and Aaron Blasey, they're extremely talented people. And it's not easy getting all of that done, but they do a great job, and it turns out really good.
How involved are you guys looking over their shoulders with that stuff as it's coming together? Like, hey, let me just take a look at it real quick. How's it coming together? Oh, it'd be really cool if you did this. Or did you show that one part, where I know we said this thing, or you didn't put that in there? Oh, okay. Like, how does that all go?
Yeah, I mean, it's the show is important to me on the brand side, right? So I am definitely involved from a messaging standpoint. The point of the show is to show that we're out there practicing what we preach. Kind of our brand mantra, right, is that we have no business telling people what gear to use if we're not out there hunting as hard as they are.
Yeah.
And but on top of that, I kind of have I guess a personal connection with the hunting media. I think it's important for us to share what we love about hunting with younger or new hunters. I think that hunting media plays a massive role in continuing this tradition, because I see young people all the time. I live in the city, right? So I don't live in a hunting community, and I don't see any up and coming hunters around me. So I don't know how these kids would ever be introduced to something like what we do if it weren't for hunting media. So I do take it very seriously, and I really enjoy it.
That's a good answer. Corey, what about you? Any thoughts on walking that fine line? Don't put this in, put that in, that kind of stuff, and how that's imbued to the next generation or the current generation?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I kind of similar background to Al. I grew up in the city as well. Don't really. I mean, I have an uncle, one uncle that hunted. Nobody in my direct family hunted. So, getting into this, I definitely fell head over heels for the whole media content thing. And the Grit series, when we first kind of brainstormed it, like, to me, I fell in love with the concept, and throwing ideas at Alex, I've grown to love, because no idea is too crazy for Alex. So he usually tends to run with anything we throw at him. And, he's really shaped Grit into something I think very special. And I love the platform of YouTube. I mean, it's easy. There's no barrier to entry for anyone to watch. And, I think that sometimes we need to, as hunters, take a step back from all the seriousness of trying to be this like big buck killer. Remember, we're just out there to have some fun and make memories with friends and travel, and kind of show that aspect of it. Make sure people remember, like, hey, it's all right if you go to Wisconsin for a week and get your butt kicked, because you're out there to spend time with your buddies, explore, see places you've never been, and do things you've never done. And to me, I mean, I can tell you right now, when I'm 50, I'm going to look back and think about, the trip to Nebraska, sleeping in some half-finished farmhouse, waking up in a shower that has tree frogs in it, swatting flies and sweating our balls off, and, coming back to the house and having a beer and hanging out and eating pizza, versus whatever deer, we put on the wall over the years. But yeah, I think it's important, very important.
He did kill a 186-inch deer on that trip, so.
Yeah.
Like the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
86 inches worth of elephant.
Modesty at its finest right there. Way to go, man.
But you're right.
I'm just giving you shit, Corey. But
if you're quote unquote giving somebody shit for shooting a big deer, like, that's the best version of giving shit ever.
That's great.
Right.
But that's the deer camp vibe, where they're giving each other shit, and you're enjoying every minute of sweating your junk off, and the tree frogs, telling you how small your junk is in the shower and all that cool stuff. So, yeah, man, you made memories. And like you said, when you're 50 or shit, you sound like 50 is going to be old. I'm not that far away from that. We got 6 years to go.
Yeah, well, what do you remember from when you were, I mean, you got a baby face, Corey. I'm not going to lie. I know you're young, but you're not that young.
Right. 31, Eric, 31.
Yeah.
Young pup.
Yeah.
Young pup.
So when I had my first kid, and everything since then has been a total blur. Just boom, blur. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you guys have built something really special. I mean, we're talking about the media side of things, and that's kind of fun to jam on. We put our hat into that ring, but it's a quarter percentage of my time with no capital. It's like, how far can you really get with it? It's tough. You guys being true entrepreneurs and being in the business, and hopefully the business has enough capital to afford paying some people that have talent. You guys have put out a great product, and baking in your products into that, I think is fantastic. You guys have a great product lineup. We've been working with you guys since I think 2019, and have enjoyed seeing everything kind of progress and evolve and innovate. And we've been using every product you've brought to market since you've been bringing them to market. And every time we get our hands on new stuff, it's like, holy shit, what did we do before we had this? I mean, that's really how we feel before the Carbon Series Speed Sticks. Is like, in my opinion, there weren't and there aren't a lot of products that compete with that for how it works. I think I made a point last week about saying, like, use the products that you're comfortable with and that work for you. And I'm really good at making other products look bad. Yours is one of the few ones I'll make look good because it really helps me. And I need all the help I can get. So I know it's just a big brag fest here. I'm just saying really nice things, but I genuinely mean them. So, I'm excited to see what's to come here. But how is the business, how has that felt growing this thing and bringing these products to market? And I'll add one other thing, because I do this bullshit where I say 1,000 questions at once. But one thing I've noticed, and this is a compliment, you guys aren't a cult brand. You don't have like this cult-like following in such a way where it's like you're not fostering or breeding like this negative tonality with your stuff. It's very much come as you are. Our gear's here to help you. If you want to use some other gear too, that's great. Whatever works for you. We're just here to try to make things better for you in the woods. You're not pumping your chest saying you're the best, but ATA will tell you otherwise. When you bring new products to market, you don't have to say it.
But they have done a good job of bringing some pretty cool new things just recently, from the smaller pack to the suspenders and all the other stuff. But that's a rabbit hole we'll go down later.
However you've done it, you've done a really eloquent job of it.
Well, thank you. There were a lot of questions in there, Eric.
We can maybe remember one of them.
What's the question right now, and I'll answer.
How has the evolution of the business stuff been going as you then turn out products like that?
Yeah, up to this point, the business has been a massive learning experience. None of us have ever done any of this stuff, except Corey. He has some experience in his world, and that's why he's the best performer at the company. But the rest of us, we are over here just, doing the absolute best that we can, trying desperately to not end up divorced. And, it's been an adventure. And I think that, you see it in our hunting, right? I would much rather go to a random place, some obscure state that nobody really would even want to bother to go try and hunt. I would rather do that as an adventure than go to some place where I have really high odds to kill some giant. It's just more interesting to me. And I would compare the journey that we've had so far with this business to that hunting scenario, going to a random place that you know nothing about and working your butt off trying to figure it out.
That's a great analogy. Like, really, that's good.
And you know what's the interesting thing is like, over the years, my as you mature, your attitude kind of progresses, and you start to learn how to deal with yourself and your thoughts. And what I've learned and what's kind of happening naturally is that over time, when I'm out there hunting, getting my ass kicked, I've learned how to deal with that mentally. And honestly, I'm pretty good at it at this point. And on the business side of things, or even with my home life, things get very stressful, just like they do, when you're out there hunting, tired, exhausted, yada, yada, yada. And what I've noticed happening is that my mindset as a hunter is kind of starting to impact my mindset in other aspects of my life. And that's been a really kind of cool experience. It's helped me a lot, and it's been a cool experience. So,
can you elaborate on it? Because I'm going to use that with my wife.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I manufactured this a little bit, but hey, it works.
Not only
It
is it
sounded good at
good
the
because I'm
time.
checking out and I'm like, getting back to neutral, but also, honey, when shit gets hard, it's sharpening my mind for when shit gets hard here. And you may have
Just tell
noticed
her.
my response has been different when the kids, throw poop at me or whatever. I'm making that up. They've never done that.
Yeah, listen, honey, I know you think I'm out there having a good time, but these trips are miserable. I'm physically in
Yeah.
pain. I'm
They don't want to
exhausted.
hear that anyways. You did this to yourself as well, I hear.
And
Yeah.
I will tell you, like, my wife will ask about that trip, like our trip to Oregon. Went out there, and there are lots of things to see, right? National parks, the ocean's there, the beach, all that stuff. So when are you going to the beach? I saw it on the way in the dark. The moon was reflecting off the ocean, but I didn't see it in the daylight. Well, why not? Because we're out there to hunt. Well, that sounds miserable. To someone who doesn't hunt and doesn't get it, okay, yeah, it's probably going to sound miserable. To us, we're perfectly happy walking until our muscles hurt, till our lungs are on fire, to try and shoot a deer and then go all the way back up the mountainside to bring it back home. To me, that's fun. To me, it's enjoyable. To me, it was worth it.
So like
To
the
other
fact that-
normal people, it's not worth it.
well, the fact that you guys have a series called Grit, I mean, I think that says quite a bit.
Mhm.
It's not a rhyme. I mean, it is. Wasn't intentional. So yeah, you guys just filmed what, season 3 or 4?
Season 3.
Might be season 3.
Okay. Yeah, we're in like the same cadence. I think we got the most footage we've ever gotten to date so far.
And I got a pile I got to dump, by the way.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to go through. I don't know, but we don't have product. Well, we do have product to bake in your product.
Yeah.
We don't have our own.
Yeah, there's your product.
So, we're not baking in our own product. It'd be interesting if it was like if we had our own stuff to put in there. Like, you don't want to overdo it. It's not a commercial. Like, you're really trying to put some value into, like, for the viewer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you gotta. I hate hard sales pitches.
They're gross.
I
Yeah.
think I probably bother Corey a little bit because some of my sales pitches are a little obscure.
Yeah,
But
we're starting this episode. I mean, as long as it's not that bad, I think you're in good shape.
yeah.
Mhm.
Eric, you would really enjoy dropping in on one of our marketing meetings on a Monday. There's some interesting topics to get thrown around there.
Why I like working in this industry, because it's just, the profession is second. It's like secondary to being a human and being a hunter. Obviously, the profession is important and part of it, but then you get to bring all these other things into it, and it's like this really great concoction. I talked to you guys yesterday on a work call, and I'm talking to you tonight on a not work call, but kind of a work call. Like, it all just bleeds together. It's all
It
just
really
one
does.
and so, like, then having opportunities to go hunt and do things together in the field, whether it's a content shoot or an actual hunt or whatever, like, it's still just great to do all that stuff. I don't know. Even like when I think you guys when I got the new profile platform, I told my wife, like, I gotta take a lunch break. I gotta go out in the backyard for a little bit. She's like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "Well, it's kind of like work, honey. I really got to do it, Like,
Yeah.
and not that they're counting on me or anything like that, but I kind of got like a bit of a, like, I owe them I got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring the boys with me. They'll come outside and they'll jump around on it. It'll be fine. And it's stuff like that I really enjoy it. Like, all the tinkering. If you send Greg something, he'll probably like take it apart first. He'll get his Allen wrench set out and like take it apart and look at it from every angle and then put it back together and be like, yeah, this is pretty nice. That's how Greg does.
Oh, one of those people.
Hey, easy with that shit. Easy, Al.
I'm just kidding.
He is one of those people.
I might be.
I know. We love our tinkerers. We do.
The first
We've
time
got
I
a
got
bunch.
into your saddle, back in 19 or 20, whatever year it was, somewhere in there, I was pretty intimidated with all the lines. I didn't know any of the terminology. I didn't know what the bridge was. I didn't know I was like lost in the sauce. And you guys had, at the time, you're still pretty fresh to all this stuff. You had some decent tutorials. And Alex, I think I was texting you like, hey, is this how I do this, or what is this called? And you weren't as busy yet, so you're able to reply back to me and help me through some stuff. Now I'm super comfortable and confident. I can speak to it, and it's a whole different thing. And the innovations you guys are putting into your saddles now, they make sense to me as someone who's used the earlier products. Having the padding and having the I don't even know what it's called, that bigger band on the Lone Star. Like, there's some thought that goes into this that does increase your comfortability when you're in the stand, which is a big deal. The more comfortable you are, the less you're wiggling and moving around to adjust this or unpinch that, or I'm still not just as comfortable as I want to be. Let me move this here, and all that movement's not good as a whitetail hunter. So if you're working to make you more comfortable, you're working to make them more still, you're increasing our odds at shooting a damn deer. I think that's pretty great.
Yeah. I mean, Eric, we're very lighthearted over on the marketing side of the business, right? And we try to be ourselves and as authentic as possible on our side of the business. But on the product side of the business, right, those guys over there are extremely talented, and everything that they do is thought out to a point where my brain would shut off. And so, that's where the magic has kind of happened with the business, really, right? Is it's kind of this blend of these very, very technical engineer type people, right? And it's challenging to have these contrasting personalities coming together in one organization, but that's what's made this thing work. It's allowed us to compete with some of these other bigger companies who have more funding, have more resources, got an earlier start. The only reason we still exist is because of some of these guys over here who take the product very, very seriously.
See Levi's question.
There's a few questions that came in, and the phone lines are open too. So
Levi, as a Western hunter, you have to find a place with trees. Let's start there.
Not necessarily. You could have some small trees.
Yeah. Well, trees in general, any kind of tree, but something you can climb.
Guys, I'm not going to lie. On our work call the other day, I went down a really deep rabbit hole, and I didn't end up anywhere positive at all. But I was like, what if you could hit the waterfowl market with a saddle? And I know what you're thinking. What the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, well, there's these things called helical piers that you can put into swamp water, into the muck. And if you had a helical pier and you had a post dug out there, we could hang a saddle on that post and a platform right above the water. But then I'm like, why would anyone go through all that trouble? You can't manually put in a helical pier. It's not really that doable. You need heavy equipment. And by the time you're done with all that, you might as well just build a damn duck blind. So then I just went in a giant dead end for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, you went in a big circle.
It was pretty stupid.
And you extinguished your own fire. That's nice.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Just, trying to think of adjacent categories. Duck hunting is not one of them, I don't think.
You kind of
Well, it's interesting, Eric, because I am not a waterfowl guy, so I could be totally wrong about this, but I do see these really cool pictures of guys standing in waders in waist deep water in the timber with their dog on what looks like a dog saddle platform.
Well, in the deep timber, maybe
it's a dog stand. It's basically a hang-on tree stand, more or less. And it's a dog platform for the dog to get up out of the water so he's not shivering like a dog shitting fish hooks.
Yeah. And so I don't fully understand it, but I did have a guy come up at ATA one year, and I think he was in North Carolina, South Carolina or something. And he said he uses his saddle all the time to waterfowl.
I think that it'd be actually, I hadn't had that consideration. I was just thinking where we hunt here, it's usually just big marsh, flooded marshes or whatever. But I had duck hunted once or twice, and I'm like, God, I just want to sit down, but you're standing in water and waders, and you just got to stand there the whole time. And I'm like, if I just had something to sit on or lean back on, I feel like I would have enjoyed it 10 times more than I did. So if that's the case in the flooded timber stuff, I mean, shit, how would you not be using a saddle?
Well, you could
use a platform.
You could use that, or you could use what's called a marsh seat or a swamp seat, where it actually stabs into the mud. Now it'll work if the water level isn't too high, that you're standing in. But for the most part, there's always some kind of option available.
Yeah,
but a saddle's pretty nice.
That's what I was thinking. I don't know. This is just does that mean this is like a problem? Like, it doesn't turn off. It's like stupid. Every idea I have to vet out my own brain to like get my brain to turn it off.
Seen a lot of guys use the gear strap that will go, flood a timber, put the gear strap around a tree, put their bow hanger up, give them somewhere to hang their gun.
Yep.
Put your pack on there, just raise it up, get it out of the water.
You bet.
Seems to work for that. But I mean, I think a lot of if you're going to get into a crossover market, like outside of the whitetail space, I think you're going to end up, like bear hunting. I think elk's going to be an interesting one. You're going to start seeing people kill elk over wallows out of saddles, on the internet here soon. And
there's some guys that are doing it already.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, it probably would be very effective, I would imagine. But
what I've heard with that is that the wallow, and I don't know, maybe Levi can weigh in. He's with the Western Territory podcast. So he's our resident big game Western hunter on the network. But like, it sounds as though that's where a lot of hunters then go to, is like if there's a wallow or a watering hole, then there's like 10 dudes trying to hunt that one spot. So, depending on the seasonality, if it's a hot time of year, early September, and everyone's just going to go flock towards water, that's I don't know how many watering holes there are out west for that kind of stuff.
Depends on your area.
I've heard where there's like dozens of trail cams around one wallow, though. There are cell cams and things like that. I've heard these things. I just have never seen it. It could be hearsay. But typically with elk, you're moving. You're covering territory, covering ground. You're using the elevation at your own advantage. So then, like, to just pick a spot to be stationary, it's not like whitetail where you're trying to ambush these things. You're trying to make a move on them. So that's where I wonder how those applications will come into fruition for elk hunters, or who's already using them that way. Not to dismiss it, but I don't know what I don't know. For whitetail hunting, it's incredible. I'll say that much. Hog hunting, it could be good. Bear. A lot of guys would love to just kill hogs in Arkansas all year round. Good buddy of mine, Jared Norwood's one of them. I think he texts me every so often, killed another hog, and he kills them out of his saddle. I wouldn't want to be on the ground hunting a hog. These things are disgusting. They're vicious. You ever seen Old Yeller? No thanks. That's a real fear. They just maul you. Don't they have like disgusting mouths and germs, and it's not poisonous, is it? They're not like venomous.
Yeah, it's like the pink rattlesnake, Eric.
You just don't want to get that thing in it. Like if they cut your leg and they slobber in there, I think you're gonna get like gangrene and die.
Wow, this went sideways.
Whitetail don't do that.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, you guys got to save me from taking it to weird places.
Yeah.
No, but that all sparked because Levi's like, hey, can I use this out west? Like maybe.
Certainly can.
Derek Duncan just commented and he said, we've called elk and sitting in our saddles in Montana. That's cool. Trying to see if there's anything else. Inflatable saddle, is that a thing? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. There are inflatable tents that seem to be making and they're like coming into the market, which is kind of fun to see. There's another question here earlier on who is asking, I don't know what their username is. It's somebody on YouTube, but they're asking, maybe it was Calder. I want to get into saddle hunting next year. I'd love to hear the recommendations for a starter setup. You guys have a bunch of different saddles now than you did a few years ago.
Yeah, we started off with the Method 2, which now is by default gone to my winter setup because it's bigger. There's more room in it, and more adjustability, especially if you're wearing heavier clothing. I get to go hunt deer in the cold now because I didn't fill my buck tag. So I'm trying to chase down a buck, and the 2-panel saddle's got more room for adjustment for bulkier clothing, in my opinion. And maybe because just the way it's fit and finish, I ordered a bigger one too. That might be part of it, but I just like it better for bulkier setups. And then the Ranger's been
the pack.
Yep. The Ranger's been the pack.
Yeah, I can. You want me to give some advice on that?
Yeah, please do.
So, we have a few different saddles, right? We have 2 single panel saddles and we have a 2-panel saddle. If you're just getting started into saddle hunting, really the main decision you need to make is what is your top priority? Is it simplicity and Is it simplicity or is it adjustability and custom fit? So your single panel saddles you got two options. We have the Maverick and the Lone Star. Our Maverick saddle is super simple and super lightweight. It is the nicest wearing saddle going in and out of the woods that I've ever put on my body, and that is not biased. It feels very different than any other saddle out there in terms of walking in and out. It's very, very light. You don't notice it's there. Our other single panel saddle is the Lone Star, and this is 100% built for comfort. So it is to a certain extent overbuilt. It's super high quality. There is padding on the interior. There's a hip pinch reduction system that prevents it from pinching down on itself and causing hip pinch. It's a very, very robustly built saddle. So if comfort is your number one priority, you don't really care if you notice it when you're walking in and out of the woods, the Lone Star is a great saddle for you. If you're looking for super ultra light and compact, go with the Maverick. Now, if you're kind of looking for the best of both worlds and then the maximum ability to customize the fit of your saddle, that's where the Method 2-panel saddle comes in, because it takes a little bit longer to get used to it and dial in your settings, but your adjustment options are infinite. So you can make that seat really any size you want. You can make your support panels can land anywhere on your body that you want. For example, I like my two panels almost on top of each other in a very slim profile. But some people want those separated so that the top panel's on their lower back and the lower panel's under their butt, almost on their thighs. So you just have a lot of adjustability and customization options with the Method 2. So with all that being said, I know that's not a great answer, right? But all I would do is decide, do you want to prioritize being really, really compact, or do you want to be really, really comfortable, or do you want to be somewhere in between? And that'll tell you which route to go.
I think you answered it perfectly, because you just gave us all the highlights of all three of those products. And I've got familiarity with the Method 2 and the Maverick. And the Maverick, like you said, that thing is lightweight. It's compact. I like wearing it. That was my go-to setup from early season, probably up into November here, until I switched into heavier clothing. But that thing breathes nice, and like you said, it's compact. There's not much to it. It's very minimalistic.
Because some people have often said, and just in like chat forums and all that stuff, wearing a saddle could feel like wearing a diaper into the woods. You can really feel it weighing down, your stuff. If you have a dump pouch, which I do, and you got this heavy stuff hanging off of it, it could feel that way. The single panel that you guys have does not. The Maverick is very lightweight. You don't, like you said, you don't feel it there. It's totally different.
But they did come out with another cool add-on with the suspenders. And I don't know about you, but I like to have at least a bino harness on. I don't wear the big harness with the pack on it. I don't like all that extra junk in front of me, but I do just wear a very basic bino harness. And that new suspender setup that they put out will help keep that so
it doesn't feel like your pants are sagging like you're
exactly
in 1998 wearing Levi pipes.
Right. And then you have a place to put your binos. They snap right onto it. It's pretty slick.
That is slick, because I know a lot of the hunter safety systems, like when you're hunting on a traditional stand, you have that vest. A lot of them have the spot for your binos, which is just a good added bonus,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I was, the suspenders, I was like, why the hell would anybody want to mess with those? But I ended up running them all year long. And the reason was, first of all, I'm usually in a state of desperation on these trips, and I end up just walking around trying to bump deer. The problem is when I bump the deer, I can't see what the deer was because I'm old and my eyes are getting bad, and it's a whole thing. Even with my bino harness, I got to flip it up and get it out, and I still miss the deer. So I really enjoyed having easy access to my binos so that when the deer are running away from me, I can at least see what I scared off. But in addition to that, you also have, it takes weight off your hips. So again, when I'm at the point where I'm just walking around for miles and miles and miles trying to bump into something, well, everything starts to hurt. And so it was really nice this year to be able to give my hips a break and transfer some of that weight up into my shoulders, because I do like to carry some stuff on my saddle. In fact, I carry these like excessively large rattling antlers on my saddle all the time, and they have some weight to them. So the suspenders are great for that.
Alex believes the bigger the rattling antlers, the more deer they call in.
Yeah, I'm getting bigger ones for next year too. So
He's gonna be walking around with a set of 160s.
Corey, I'd hunt that deer you shot and keep it away from him. He doesn't saw those antlers off.
Yeah, you better watch. Yo, those would be great rattlers, dude.
I don't know if they would. They'd probably get all tangled up. I feel like
my hand,
typical, you know.
My hands would be just gushing with that thing, but it would sound good.
Some of the questions that came through, Jeff Yankee asked, do you offer a beginner package for the saddle and platform kit? You guys do have kits where you can get the whole kit and caboodle, so to speak, although inventory right now is in a end of the year spot. So but traditionally I think you guys do have kits.
Yeah, did they include sticks, platform, saddle, and all the appropriate rigging, your bridge and your lineman's rope?
So
your tether and your
sorry,
lineman's rope.
Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, we'll have that on the website. We had them earlier in the year. We took them down just due to inventory with a few things, but it's on our radar to put them back up, and we'll build those out probably this spring. But you can still a la carte a kit right now if you wanted to on the site. Just hand picking everything. One thing I'd recommend is finding a retail partner. Our retail partners carry prepackaged kits, so you could find a Shields or whoever your closest retail partner is, and they'll have ropes and saddle and all that in a box.
Sure. I believe our local archery shop, Whale Tails Archery, does carry some Latitude Outdoors
I think you're right.
products. I know they carry the carbon sticks. I don't know if they carry.
I don't know either. I've never seen their boxes there in some capacity. Yeah, we're good pals with the folks at Whale Tail, which is in Dousman. We're in Oconomowoc. Greg's in Lake Mills. I mean, for me, it's 10-15 minute drive away. So that's where I go all the time. If you ever watch our show, you probably see me walk in there a handful of times. It's a good shop. That's a good piece of advice. And Shields is a good retailer because you guys have to go through Shields Academy or whatever it is, right? Where they have to learn your stuff so they can sell it properly.
Yeah, Shields. They have their sales associates all come in during the summer and get trained on any technical product. All your bows and obviously saddles take some education. So we're fortunate to be able to go out there and train all those people. So they're very knowledgeable, and Shield they do a great job out there.
Yeah.
So they can answer any questions you guys have.
And then Jose asked, is it hard to get used to shooting out of a saddle, and would you recommend practicing in the backyard? You guys can answer that. We have thoughts about it too, obviously, but we're here to hear from you guys.
Getting used to shooting out of a saddle, I think that the getting used to it part is just the logistics of getting your bow off the hanger and getting in position to make the shot. In terms of actually making a good shot is, I would argue, easier out of a saddle because you have some more support points with the tree. So you have the ability to, take your knee and put it into the tree, and you actually end up in a very, very stable position. Now, just like in a tree stand, you can end up in some awkward spots. So practicing is very important, no matter what you're hunting, whether you're hunting on the ground, out of a tree stand, or out of a saddle. And I say this because I don't practice enough, and every year I remind myself of this and try and do a little better. But yeah, I would definitely take some shots in the yard if you can.
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry, Eric. I was just going to add to that. I think even just outside of the shot, practicing is extremely important, for safety reasons, especially if you've never saddle hunted. It's going to be different. You're learning how to use a alignment belt, learning how to when to get your tether out, putting your tether on the tree before you take your alignment off, etc. But one thing practicing out of a saddle I think helps with is you're going to make a lot less noise. If you learn how to pack your stuff appropriately and unpack your stuff efficiently, you're going to get up the tree a lot faster. You're going to not ting as many things, but also just positioning yourself for a shot and learning where's your strong point. How do you want to set yourself up to that, whatever trail that buck's going to walk? Where should it be? For me, I'm left-handed. I put that at like a 2 o'clock, for me, and I try to shoot from a 2 o'clock to probably a 6 o'clock. I would say is my strong side. So I try to line up where I'm hunting based off of that, and practicing that, I think is gonna, it's one thing I think I found this year is the better I got at setting my trees, the easier my shots got, because you end up a lot more often with that deer walking where you need him to be, and so you're not twisted like a pretzel up there with your tether around your neck trying to shoot something on your offside, last second. So just some food for thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely important to Alex, go ahead if you got something.
I was just going to say Corey's better at understanding where the deer are actually going to go, but just to tell you how easy it is, and I can't believe I didn't think about this when I first answered it. Corey this year switched his shooting hand. So he was a right-handed shooter, and this year, because of some outside circumstances, has decided to switch to a left-handed shooter. And I mean, you didn't have any issues. I mean, you're shooting really dang good, and you probably practiced, right?
Yeah. I practiced. I mean, shooting out of a saddle is not going to be terribly different from shooting out of a tree stand. You get the same principles that, that concept of bending at your hip and, making sure your bubble's level on your sight and all that's going to stay the same. But, like to Alex's point earlier, like learning how you want to put your feet on that platform. And do you like your knee against the tree? Do you want 3 points of contact or do you want 2 points of contact? For me, I like to be stood up, like all the way up. I've shot deer with my knees against the tree. I think sometimes there's less movement doing that. But I like to be in like an athletic position, I would call it, like that. The X-wing platform we have gives you the wings, allows you to like square your stance, so to speak. I found that valuable, not necessarily for comfort, but more so for, feeling like I'm in a athletic stance when I'm shooting my bow. So I don't know. I think the more time you can spend in a tree shooting out of your saddle, for sure, it is a pain in the butt because you shoot 3 arrows, you got to climb all the way down and go get them out of your target and climb all the way back up. But getting a few in here and there, it's worth it.
There's training wheels though to that. You can just set your saddle up at the bottom of a tree without ascending.
Say that,
right?
And you can
just to get used to it.
Strong side, weak side. You need to know the difference. You need to know how to deal with that. What happened to me this past season, I had to draw on my weak side, and then I had to pick at full draw up over my bridge.
That deer moved
and come back down to my strong side. I don't know that I'd feel comfortable practicing that in my backyard because I wouldn't want to lob an arrow at a neighbor's house. But that was a real life situation that I dealt with. So, just even understanding, like you mentioned, the clock, and I was like, oh yeah, the clock. My comfortability is my 6 to, probably 10 before I hit the tree at 11 to noon that I'm facing. And I don't know what you guys feel about the whole putting your bridge over your chest and leaning forward and with your back to the tree in your saddle. I did that a couple of times perfectly fine. One time I did it and the Pruswick knot was right there and it started slipping forward. I thought I was going to shit my pants because I thought I was going to fall out of the stand.
You probably did.
Facing forward. I was like, oh God, that could have been ugly. So now I'm a little like gun shy about that. But other guys are like, yeah, no problem. I'm like, well, yeah, no problem. As long as you know that you can plan for it. If the deer's there, you're not going to do all that moving around right then and there. and suddenly turn about face and put a freaking thing over your shoulder like a seatbelt and lean forward. You could. I don't know if that defeats like the safety purposes, if given what I just did, but that's something you could practice at the base of the tree, perfectly safe, and get comfortable. Make sure your knot's in the right spot so it doesn't grab something and start to undo itself. I think you guys could probably have a whole podcast topic just around setup from a shooting standpoint.
Yeah. So real quick, so the Prusik knot situation that you're describing. So Prusik knots are designed to release if you put pressure on them in certain areas, which you've probably noticed that we don't really advertise the whole turnaround, put your tether over your chest like some other people do, because of exactly what you experienced. Not to say you can't do that. You just got to be careful where that Prusik knot falls on your body. Because you can, if your collarbone leans into the Prusik on the right angle, you can release it. So you just got to be careful.
That's where a mechanical ascender of some type, whatever one you like using, might be better just specifically for that. But it's mechanical; it could fail, and there's still a chance you could still screw something up with that too.
You're off the ground. You're in the tree. Shit can go wrong. I have a belief though that saddles are safer than tree stands because you are always tight to the tree. And I've enjoyed.
Depends on who's using it.
Yeah, personally, I've enjoyed that comfortability of it, or that assurance, and I don't think it's false. I think it's real. I think it's real assurance that if you're in a tree stand, you still have that like fall zone before your stuff kicks in and it goes. But with the saddle, you're tethered in. But going back to shot placement though, too, I've seen guys that will put their tether, eye height, some at shoulder height, some at, chest height or belt height. I don't know. There, you have the NBA logo where it's like the guy slam dunking, or the MLB logo, like where it's the blue and the red, whatever it is. And it's like the iconic look of NBA, MLB. There's like an iconic saddle thing where they're leaning out and your body's straight, but you're tilted all the way out. I've never shot that way. I've done the knee into the tree thing, and I'm more comfortable with that. Yeah, I don't get that much slack. But what happened last year is this season, I had not enough slack, and I couldn't get my bow far enough away from the tree. I was like a dog on a leash. Felt stuck. I was like, oh shit, I can't back up. But I have my bow in my hand with my release. I'm like, I'm kind of fucked right now. So those are all things that you need to experiment with in a safe setting, so you know what you're dealing with. I think. Yeah.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, that iconic shot that you see, the saddle hunting like pose. That's somebody who didn't know where the deer was coming from.
You're like leaning, cockeyed, turning, tilting. That's like your full 6 o'clock backwards. Like, I'm like, wait, man, because I'm using the tree for concealment. The tree's coming at my 10 o'clock. 9 times out of 10 in my mind, that's where it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the one thing that's helped me a lot with my shooting process over the years is that I have a checklist, and there's certain things that, so in a saddle, sometimes you can get in awkward positions. In fact, if you're truly run and gun, scrambling out there, you're not really hunting spots, you're walking into spots and hunting that you've never seen before, right? And so there are issues, even when you go and climb up a tree that you think you have shooting lanes in. I'll tell you what, I've had to take my tether and lengthen it so that I can get super low and actually have a shot. And so when you're getting into those awkward positions, the one thing that's helped me is that I have a checklist, and there are certain markers that I know if I hit those markers, if I do those things, I'm going to make a good shot. And for me, it's my shoulder blades. If my shoulder blades are pinched, if it's like a feeling, I don't know, I can't really describe it, but I can feel when I make a bad shot, my back is kind of hunched versus pinching my shoulder blades. So that's just the cue for me, right? If I get in an awkward position, I just tell myself, hey, pinch your shoulder blades, check your bubble and make the shot. And if I do that, I'm very confident that arrow is going to go where it's supposed to go. And I'm sure there are probably a million different cues for people. Corey might have a totally different one than I do, but finding whatever that is that kind of lines up your shot is really helpful for any hunting
Kind of like hitting your
situation.
anchor point, kind of. I mean, that's the really baseline of it, but
Yeah, yeah. And the anchor point one, that's obviously where everybody goes to. And for me, it just, it didn't work perfect just because I can get to my anchor point, but I can screw up my form in other areas. And
yeah.
so I can be on my anchor point and still make a bad shot. And I'm not an archer, right? I'm a hunter, so I'm just trying to get by. But the shoulder blade thing works for me. If you find something that works for you, it can be helpful just to check
Corey,
yourself.
what worked for you? Because how the hell did you switch? Not even just switching from right to left, but your dominant eye. I mean, that's a whole different paradigm, man. Not to mention the muscle memory that you had to build out of the thin blue. So, I don't know what kind of psychopath you are over there. Genius.
Derek had the same thing, though. I mean, he was always a right-handed shooter, but then he had some left eye dominant issues, like what Corey is fighting with.
Yeah, you guys.
So,
a lot of smart people.
How bad do you want to do it? If you want to do it bad enough, you're gonna work hard and train your body.
If I want to do it bad enough, I'll just fuck up every shot forever from that point forward.
I mean, it's a lot. I'll tell you one thing that helped me is I hung a target under my deck, and I got my basement, has my little patio that walks out under the deck. And so at lunch, I'd just walk out and shoot my bow at, literally 3 yards. And I wasn't trying to shoot anything at distance. I was just literally, closing my eyes, working on drawing my bow, finding my anchor point, and then just literally fully focused on the release.
Blind bailing.
And, you shoot 10 arrows like that. I'm not trying to hit a bullseye, just trying to get my form right, and build that muscle memory. But yeah, I think the more you can shoot, the better you're going to get with it, especially out of a saddle. But I also think just the more you hunt out of your saddle and the more time you spend in the woods trying to find, all right, deer's coming here, scouting, he might come here, and you just need enough muscle memory to feel confident. And the more confidence you build in scouting and you combine those two things, you got a confident shot with a confident hunting approach, you're gonna kill a lot of deer. But
yeah, public is hard because it's you don't have shooting lanes, like Alex mentioned. There's a lot of unknown variable. It's tricky. That's what ended up getting me this last season on the one that I wanted to get. Is that I don't know. It was just too many variables came together at the right time or wrong time, and it's like
right time for the deer, wrong time for the hunter.
Yeah, and that was wow. It was very illuminating. I need to practice this and that way, and I thought I had it all covered, and I didn't. And it takes real life experience to show you what you don't have covered. Or you listen to this podcast, you're like, man, these guys covered it all for me. I'm gonna go do all this shit. Well, I am. I've been podcasting with Greg since 2019. I've yet to ever heard the term my entire life, blind bailing, until you, Corey, talking about switching dominance, and Greg tosses out this term. There's so much to learn, guys.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
endless.
Blind bailing, I mean, he's basically taking away his sight.
Oh, I
right?
get what it is.
And he's just working on feeling out his whole technique.
Yep.
And you could do the same thing by tearing your sight pin bracket right off your bow and just instinctively shoot at a target just to get your technique down. It's the same concept, but it's blind bailing.
So I'm going to add that to my bear shaft, Noctune, paper.
You got a long ways to go, buddy.
Just needed to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. That's the gist of it.
Doesn't come easy.
I'm probably more like Alex. You and I probably have a very similar style. Not gonna lie. I feel
yeah, I mean, I'm not a tinkerer. I like to. I guess I'm a tinkerer of sorts in the woods. I mean, I'm very inefficient out there, so I'm kind of tinkering around out there. But the gear, I want the gear to work. I want it to work every time. I want to pull it out of my truck. I don't want to even touch the stuff. I pack my bag at the beginning of the year, and I don't ever touch it, ever. I don't unpack it. I don't reconfigure anything. It's just the way it is. Beginning of the year, I add layers throughout the year, and that's it. And same with my bow. I don't want to mess with anything. Not to take away from people who are very particular about their archery equipment and stuff. It's just for me, it's a simple bandwidth thing. I'll screw it up too much if I start tinkering around with that.
Yes, man, you are. It's like you're in my mind. It's the same for me. I feel very similarly about that. And for the first time ever, since when I started hunting, and my dad gave me, this giant aluminum stand that he makeshift made these tie-on straps. It wasn't like a real backpack. It was just like this this frame on my back. This is really uncomfortable. Then I got like the satchel. I have a fanny pack. I have all my stuff. I'm just waddling out there like the kid from A Christmas Story. If I fall over, heaven forbid, I'm not getting back up, which actually happened once. I got stuck on the ground for a while like a turtle. I just hated the feeling of being that clunky kid. Hated it. And then when I met Greg and he gives me his Lone Wolf Alpha platform, and I was like, wow, this is quite the upgrade. It's got real backpack straps, but it had the sticks that went onto the thing. I literally to this day could never stack those damn things, even though they're meant to stack. Certainly couldn't attach them to the platform. Moreover, definitely couldn't do it quietly. It was always just this rigmarole for me. Like it never worked out great. You guys come along and you start putting these products out, and I feel like a fucking ninja, and it's amazing. I'm quiet, I'm efficient, I'm not feeling bogged down or weighed down. I'm nimble. I can set up quickly, efficiently, quietly. Like you are about to change the name of the Okayest Hunter because you're making something of me here. It's really impressive. I have yet to find things on the market.
Well, and the fact that you got a pack now too, that's
incredible. That was a big deal for them.
Everything fits on that pack.
Yes.
The Ranger in particular.
Almost like it was engineered to do so.
Imagine that. It's like it was made for it because it was.
Yeah, that's one thing about Alex that, Alex is extremely humble, but Alex hunts his freaking butt off. And that really, as talented as our product guys are, that is really the backbone of all the product design. And, it's like taking real life experience in the woods and bringing it to the product guys to reverse engineer how to fix that problem. And Alex has, he hunts his butt off and he hunts a lot. And so, I remember blatantly with the Ranger pack because Alex ran it for 2 full seasons, probably through 5-6 states, 100+ sits. And, he had configured how to pack that thing to a science. And, I got my first Latitude prototype and I packed it totally different from him, thinking I knew how to do it better just because I wanted to pack it my way, and ran it 3 or 4 times. And immediately I was packing it Alex's way. It's like, there's a purpose to this, and I think, the grit thing is as much fun as it is. It's also very important because it dictates all this stuff, with how all this stuff comes to market and why it comes to market.
Yeah, we joke on our end, if you really want to test something out, durability wise or simplicity wise, you give it to Al. And the reason is because my hunting style is pure chaos. And it's chaos because I like chaos. I like action and excitement in problems, and that's just what I like. But what that also means for our gear is designed for chaos. In other words, if everything in your scenario is chaotic, weather, pressure, you name it, sliding off the road in a rainstorm because the road is just pure mud, whatever that chaos is in your world, it's inevitable for the public land hunter. And the gear should be so stupid simple that it doesn't matter what else is going around you. You're going to be able to pull the truck over, grab your stuff out of your truck, and go hunt when you finally find that spot, or maybe you finally glass a buck. You finally got eyes on something. You got to go get them right now. And so that's why it's designed to be very, very simple. So we joke around about it, but putting that stuff through chaotic situations is important for a mobile hunter in mobile hunting equipment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. The one thing I don't have that I need are your saddle cinchers. Do you think people are using those for their sticks on the way up? Is that
Were you asking us?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They're for your sticks.
Just clarifying because of the name, but I'm like,
they're for anything, really.
Yeah,
But
anything, really.
I wish I
need
had a
that
stick
in my life because I have 4 sticks now that I'm hunting with.
Yeah.
And so going up the tree, I always try, just like a dad bringing groceries. I'm like, you got to get in one trip. Like, heaven forbid, I got to climb back down and take another trip. I want to take one up the tree, and I've done some pretty derelict shit to get those sticks up the tree with me to date because I don't have a good system in place to get the sticks attached to my
Before
saddle.
those came along, I made up some stuff out of paracord and attached it. Yeah,
I'm using those
it works,
ties.
But yeah.
But you guys have the molly webbing on the there's a lot of ways you could skin that cat. But
yeah, so Eric, those saddle cinchers, they kind of slip knot onto your molly, right? And there's a little slider button on the cincher that cinches down onto the tip of your bottom step on your sticks. And so that's how you can carry them up. So I run 3 sticks, so I'll have my first stick on the tree, and then I put 1 stick on each side, and then my platform on my back. And that's how I go up the tree. But yeah, they're exactly the same concept as the paracord. They're just, you got that slider button on there so your stuff doesn't fall out. But
that's happened. Anything that can go wrong. I'm like, it's like if you're hunting with me, you're hunting with Murphy's Law.
Yeah. Well, you're not alone, Eric. I mean, like all the time, I'm just fascinated by all the pieces to the puzzle all the things that have to go right to kill a deer, and
literally
the way,
everything.
and there's just so many things that can go wrong, dropping stuff out of the tree, dropping stuff on the way, whatever it may be. And it's just, it's a complex system that we're dealing with. So
it is.
You're not
and the more efficient you can make, the fact that you made me an efficient hunter is, I mean, you could probably put a plaque up. That's your biggest testament right there. Like, I wouldn't have thought it was possible.
Well, I mean, look at our gun drive. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. Nobody really thinks about, we do, using the saddle for gun hunting, but I can't think of a better way of gun hunting than a saddle other than on the ground. But on the ground, if you're using a rifle and you're shooting distance, you need some sort of a sturdy rest. Well, when you're hunting out of a saddle, that tree is the sturdy rest. I've killed several deers from last year to this year out of my saddle with my rifle, and I got a coyote too. We put up on that drive pretty effectively.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you in a direction. I looped all the way around. I got up the tree, got the cameraman up the tree. Carbon sticks are light. Yeah, I mean, we had a long walk to get back there too from the truck.
Pretty high up, so
it was nice to be able to do that. But I don't think the saddle gets enough credit for being really effective for gun hunters, because you have that rest with the tree that you're tethered off of right in front of you.
I was set up in the saddle with for the deer drive with the rifle, and a lot of guys are like, oh, I just use my my tether to rest my gun. I'm like, I don't know how you're doing that, because it's coming off of my chest, like it's right there. Like I don't, So I'm like, I don't know what kind of stupid I am that I can't make sense of that.
I mean, it's just a matter if it's out long enough, if it's at the right angle, if you got enough rope there to work with. I just assume tuck next to the most stable thing I got in front of me, and it's usually the tree.
Someone had mentioned using a camera arm to rest your rifle barrel on, and I thought that was a good idea, but I don't have one of those, so like I don't have one. If you guys had something that was meant for a rifle arm that had some like felt on it or silencer tape or something like that baked in naturally, where that's what it's for, I think that'd be a nice accessory.
They do have a bow holder that would work as such.
Yeah, but it's fixed.
It is fixed to a gear strap, but even still, if you need something variable,
the gear comes from the other side.
The tree is round, Eric, so it's variable.
It's not that variable. You need something to move quickly.
It's not that hard.
Swiftly and quietly.
Not that hard. I've shot them, at 6 o'clock behind me. I mean, last year I had that doe come 8 yards. from the base of the tree.
You're just a
Swung
better
around,
hunter.
shot, and
It's
I'm not
okay.
a better hunter.
These are the
Come on.
reasons I don't kill big deer. It's this. It's
I don't
this
kill big deer either. I just kill
No.
numbers.
but I don't kill any deer. So let's just. But it's because of this micro stuff, these micro adjustments. This is the red zone shit that I talk about. That I'm in the game, I'm there. I just can't punch to the end zone. It's usually these kinds of things that will prevent me from making it happen. These are the things that I'm deadly focused on right now as a deer hunter. Is this fine tuning of your setup, how you're going to pull your shot off, all that stuff is like those are the, in my opinion, those are the quintessential things that are going to make you an actual killer. The other shit, that's a never-ending game of figuring that stuff out. But once you start to figure that out, you can repeat that process over and over again. It's a matter of getting your other shit dialed in. So when the buck comes into 15 yards and it's 150 plus inch deer who's super fucking smart and looks into trees, you can put the moves on him and make it happen. And I can't put the moves on him.
You're still reliving last year's November, aren't you?
I really am. And this year, like clearly.
Well, look at it this way, Eric. You know, it's all about reps. And you got a rep in last year.
See?
Yeah, there we go. One rep. You know.
Yeah, you know, what do you expect?
It's good to talk this stuff out with the guys that are making the gear. It's cool to know that that's how you think about it. Like you talk about being a practitioner and someone that puts our gear through the paces. Like you're not just some empty suit, you know, with a PE firm in the back end, you know, trying to keep shareholders happy and, you know, let's just make this product and bring it to market as fast as possible before we test anything out. Like y'all are doing it. You're doing it the right way.
Yeah. I mean, none of this would be worth it if we didn't get to do what we do in the field. I would have been out of here a long time ago. And,
yeah,
you know, that's the part that I love about what we do. It's certainly not for the money. So,
well,
you know,
nobody's in the hunting industry for the money. Let me tell you that right now. Like,
no, but yeah, but you know, I'm very thankful every day that I get to do these things that we get to do. You know, the trip with Corey this year was just incredible. I mean, that'll be one of the best memories. Well, it was probably the worst hunting trip for me personally I'll ever have, but it'll be one of the most memorable ever. You know, and so it's just those are the special things that you don't appreciate until you're old and looking back. And so I'm very thankful
too, even for your kids to go back and look at Dad when he had hair when it wasn't gray. You know, like that's cool. You know,
it'll be interesting to see what their opinion is of what Dad is doing on YouTube when they're like 15. I don't know, but they'll probably be pretty. I don't know what they'll think. They like it now, but
it's cool. I've said that out loud a bunch of times. I worked at a cell phone company when I was in college. Like people would call in when their loved ones had passed because they wanted to get the voicemails because their voice leaves the world. And so the only way I can hear the voice is by getting their voicemails. Can you please save them for me? Can I have them? And of course we did, and we had technology to do that. This is like that on steroids because it's video. It's really special, I think. So people might want to. There's people that bash hunting content left and right, and I'm like, kick rocks. I have my own reasons for this, and that's one of them. You know, so there's that. But I was talking to my wife, was it 2 days ago? And I was like, yeah, that guy looks really like we were walking to my car and some guy got out of a truck and he looked like a deer hunter. You could just tell. And he's like, what's up, man? And I was like, hey. I said, do you know that guy? I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I know him or if he knows me. I don't have an ego about this. That's not what I'm saying. But the number of times people like look at me for a while and eventually like, you're that Okayest Hunter guy, right? I'm like, have you guys been having that now that you've had grit for a while? Like, do you get people that just stare at you funny for a while and they're like, you know,
I do have a funny story for you. So we get out to Kansas this year and it's just like torrential downpour. And it's the first time I've ever been out there. So we get to this road and I'm like, it doesn't look great, but I think if I kind of get some speed going, I can maybe shoot up there. And
bad.
So so it didn't end well. I fought with this road for about 40 minutes until I was finally just totally stuck in a ditch. And so I'm like, D-Rock, dude, I gotta go find a farm or something. I'm just going to start walking. He's like, all right. And so I just start walking. Of course, like I am a relatively lucky person. And so I'm walking and there's this ranger, driving down the road, and it's this, younger farmer. He's going to check his cattle. And I'm like, I mean, he was watching the whole situation, so he kind of saw, and he's like, I thought I recognized that car, and then I realized that my sons and I, we watch YouTube, we watch you guys on YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, so this doesn't surprise you then, right? So and so he went and got his tractor and pulled us out, and but yeah, so that was funny. Thank God for that guy. He saved our tail. That was on the first. We literally finally got there. It's such a long drive. Finally got there. Boom. Within an hour, we're in a ditch.
You guys posted that clip on social somewhere.
Oh yeah.
And it brought back memories of me doing something similar with my truck, only in the winter, going into about 3 foot deep snowdrift for 100 yards and burying it, going, well, I'm here now. I'm just going to go hunt. And then got a hold of
later.
The farmer pulled me out with his big John Deere tractor.
Yeah. Those tractors are incredible.
God, like, what they can do.
This thing was just, I was riding, I'm getting pulled from behind. I'm just getting pulled, and I just couldn't believe this thing, dude. Those things are amazing.
It tows a half-ton truck or an SUV like it's a rag doll. It's not even back there.
Oh, it was incredible. And it's funny because I called the towing company first, and they're like, "No, dude, we're not taking a truck down there."
That's enough for me, dog.
That's enough for me. For those reasons, I'm out.
Like, sure. The funny thing is this situation was totally normal to them. They were like, "Oh yeah, you got to go find a farmer." I'm like, "What do you mean, go find a farmer?" Like I'm looking all around. I can't see. There's not a single structure around me for miles.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like, "Well, you should start walking then." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Thanks.
That's like the time we got our houseboat stuck in the river for my bachelor party. That was pretty weird.
Oh, that sounds like an ordeal.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. We got the thing beach. We stayed overnight because that's what you do. And then the river line receded and the boat got stuck on the beach. The houseboat is fucking colossal. And we called a guy that rented us the houseboat. And we're like, "What are you going to do?" He's like, "What am I going to do? There's 12 of you guys. What the hell am I going to do? Figure it out." I was like, "What? What?" Yeah, okay. And we figured it out. Teamwork is what ended up solving that problem. But yeah, I got a hightail over to my daughter's dance thing. So I think we covered the topic well. I'm glad that you guys are the last podcast of the season. Sorry I get so weird. I don't know. It's just
doesn't know what to do with his hands.
The older I get, the more awkward I get. It's like a dad thing. I think it's just you dads just get awkward now. I don't know what to make of it. I used to be cool at some point. Not anymore.
I'm an awkward dad too, so I didn't notice anything. And Corey's about to be one, so
right.
Boy,
he's just learning here.
He can start getting used to it. Yeah.
Why these guys so fucking weird?
Yeah.
I mind this podcast.
We're gonna have to do this again next year. See if it's any different. We got more dads instead of 3.
Oh yeah.
The dynamics, because like the virtual, there's a lot of like awkward cutting off of people because you don't know whose turn it is. Everyone's looking at the screen. In person, you just backhand someone like, "Go talk, asshole. What are you doing?"
Well,
yeah, the virtual.
Next year
there's a good example.
It just happened
just
right
gonna
now.
start diarrhea of the mouth. Just start blabbing.
Good. But no, I mean, really, I think we have a discount code with you guys, OHP. I don't even know what it's for or what it gets you, but it's Latitude. It's latitudeoutdoors.com, right?
Yes. Yep.
I should know these things, guys. I'm sorry. Trying my best.
Lord, fired.
And you guys are going to get ATA. Do you know your booth number yet for ATA? Not that the public can go per se, but
I don't.
No, that's you. Now I got you guys. That's great.
We did order some big flags, Eric, so you're gonna be able to find it. That's very excited about those.
Yeah, the booth is loud. So
you guys can nice. Go me to work at the booth while I'm there for a little bit. That's
trade shoe booths are a big deal, man. I know the company I work for. If people know where our booth is all the time, it's pretty easy to spot by all the banners and all the cool stuff.
Well, Greg works for a ginormous company, so yeah.
Really?
No, bigger than any hunting company that I'm aware of. So, No, I appreciate you guys being on the show. I hope you guys have a happy holiday. Corey, your world's going to get rocked. Good luck with everything. Best wishes, prayers. I'm going to be fine. I'm not saying like a negative thing, but you know, it's all positive.
Yeah. Corey's one of those people who's probably going to do really well, if I were to guess.
Go figure.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well,
hey,
yeah, go ahead, Al. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say thanks a lot for having us, and you know, we really appreciate the partnership and the support. You know, relationships are a big deal to us, and you guys have been great friends for a long time, and we can't thank you enough. So
we love what you're doing, and keep up the good work, and good luck with all the trade shows coming up. And if you have something new, I wouldn't expect you'd want to share it with us, but looking forward to whatever that might be.
And when we'll share the shit out of it. So just keep us informed. We'll do our job over on this end.
We'll share it with you, Greg, so you can start tinkering in your mind.
We lost him.
Back.
Audio's gone.
Oh, you hate to see that happen. Is it just you and I now, Cor?
Just us, Al. Right back to it.